If you're not exactly where you want to be in every area of your life right now, then you're probably being held back by one of two things. And in this video, I'm going to share those with you. So stay tuned. All right, so diving in, here's the thing. If there was an ultimate formula for success, I know that sounds ridiculous, and I know that, anyone who figured out that formula would obviously have tons of attention and they would have cracked the code, right? Here's the thing. I spent years trying to find out what is the formula to success? What does it take to actually become successful? So I actually recently read that a Harris poll by Time magazine reported that 67% or something crazy like that of Americans don't feel happy, they don't feel fulfilled, and they feel confused in every day with their lives. So what that means is that 70% of Americans are struggling with one of these two things. Okay, no matter how simple they seem, they're a struggle point for people. And I'm sure you can agree with me that because this concept is so obvious, if you're doing the right things long enough over time, you're going to be successful. Then I'm sure you understand that the inverse of that is if you are struggling right now, it's because of a lack of doing one of those two things correctly. So what I want to do with these two things is basically dive into each one and diagnose the problems of why I think people struggle with each of these areas. All right, so starting here with the right strategy, okay? This is a big one for me, okay? I struggled so much with this, not because I wasn't doing enough of this, but because I was doing too much. I struggled with this consistent action thing over here. And I think that there's a lot of people who watch all the YouTube videos, they listen to all the audiobooks, all the podcasts, they read all the books. They're hungry for the information, right? They're always willing to go out and read about the perfect diet or the perfect workout plan. But these are the people who struggle with implementation. They struggle to actually get themselves into the gym consistently every single day in order to actually go build those muscles. They can quote every workout, every specific, what foods are healthy and which ones are not, but they're not actually implementing it, okay? I struggled with this for a long time. Back when I was about 16 years old, I was in a position where I was really into entrepreneurship, really into marketing, and back when I was 16, I launched a company, and I was reasonably successful for a 16-year-old, okay? I was making a few $1,000s a month consistently, and I got this really big head. I got all excited, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can be my own boss and be an entrepreneur, and I want to figure this out. I want to crack this code to success. So obviously, I had a very small amount of success at that time, but what immediately happened was I got these big, massive dreams because I was like, well, if I'm capable of this now, what am I capable of 5-10 years from now? So I started to dream really, really big, and I started to just study everything I could about what it takes to be successful. And what I found is that I later discovered this was primarily due to fear. Okay, and I'll get into that in a second, but it was due to fear of actually putting in the consistent action in case I would fail. What I ended up doing is for years on repeat, all I would do with all of my time is I would just study strategies. I would just read another marketing book, or I would listen to another Tony Robbins tape, or I would, do any of these things that really, I was good on the strategy. What I needed to be doing was taking consistent action, and that's where I struggled again and again and again and again. And it wasn't until I came here and met Steven Scoggins, who obviously owns this channel, who also is a mentor of mine, that things really started to click. Because as I was watching Steven, one of the most bewildering things for me personally, and sorry Steven if you're watching this, but it's true, was that Steven seemed to always have all of this in spades. He had literally, if there could be more than 100% action taker, Steven would be that. If you had to rank him, he's one of the biggest action takers I've ever met in my entire life. But I consistently will have to be like, dude, the strategy, man, you gotta be over, he'll be over by an inch, right? He won't always have the perfect strategy. Now, I always thought that the key to success was that it was more important to have the perfect strategy first, and that way you're leveraged properly so you can basically take as little action as possible and achieve big results, which in theory makes sense. Now, that's the problem, okay? You actually need both of these to be successful, but what I was just saying about Steven is I've consistently seen Steven not necessarily have the perfect strategy. Now, he doesn't have a terrible strategy, he always has a good strategy, but it's not always as perfect or ironed out as I would think that it would need to be in order to be successful. Steven is very much a run before you walk type of person. He's just all in from the beginning, ready to get going, okay? And sometimes I'm like, dude, slow down, man, we gotta have the strategy right. He's like, no, action takes precedence. Action is the most important thing, okay? So what I took forever to learn is that if you're not taking consistent action, you're not gonna get anywhere. It doesn't matter how powerful your strategy is. So I literally spent years stuck, overwhelmed, confused. I literally, from the age of 17 all the way up to 22, which is the last year for me. I'm 23 now, and I've been working with Steven consistently for over a year. And only in that last year has it really begun to click that I was looking for things in all the wrong places, okay? I was looking for more strategies still. And he was like, dude, you know what to do, you're just not doing it. You're struggling with action. And it made me wonder how many other people are struggling with that one area. I spent so much time avoiding this and focusing on this, on the strategy, that it kept me stuck for a long time. Now on the flip side, I'm gonna get into the other way that most people get stuck, which is there's a lot of people who have no problem taking action, but they can't seem to know what actions to take. It's probably because it's as simple as either they haven't been taking action long enough to learn from their failures, or they aren't actually building into their daily routine time to learn the right strategies. Okay, strategies are pivotal, okay? They're very important. I know I just talked about them like they're not that big of a deal. Both of these things are necessary for success. Don't forget that, okay? Your strategy is going to dictate how you're actually going to be able to get a result. So here's the thing, you can take all the action in the world, but if you don't have the right strategy, you're not gonna get anywhere, okay? Strategy is direction. Look at it as direction, okay? Action is just how fast you're gonna move in a certain direction. Okay, so let's say that I'm on the East Coast. Let's say I'm up in New York. I don't know if my hand's in the right directions, probably not, but let's say New York's over here and California's over here, okay? If you were gonna try to drive to California and you ran as fast as you could, let's say you're in a really, really fast car and you just drive, but you don't have a road map, okay? You're just going really, really fast. You gonna get to California that way? No, you're probably not, because you don't know exactly where you're going, you don't know which turns to take, you don't know any of that. But here's the flip side of that is, if you know exactly what the route is that you have to go to get to California, but you're going at 1 mile an hour, how long is it gonna take you to get to California? Long time. I don't know the exact number on that, but it'll probably take you like a year at least to get to California. That might be way off, but you get what I'm saying is basically, that's what I was doing, and that's what I think a lot of other people are doing. I think a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid of this action because it's uncomfortable. That's why I was afraid of it. Every time I would try to take consistent action, it would literally feel like my brain wanted to explode. All I wanted to do, my comfort zone, was let me just read another book about belief systems, or let me just go ask Steven another question, until he got sick of me asking him a bunch of questions and said, dude, just do the push-ups, do the work. Okay, it's that simple. I had asked him every question under the sun before he basically realized, and he was like, dude, you're asking me the same question over and over and over again in a different way. And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm doing this I'm doing this by myself too. I'm going home, watching another motivational video. It's not getting me anywhere closer to where I wanna go. So what you're gonna wanna do is take an honest look at where you're at in each of these two areas. Are you taking enough action? And is it consistent action? You wouldn't just go to the gym one time and then show up at one time and then leave and then never go back again and expect to have a six-pack and maintain that. It's not gonna happen. It has to be consistent. So I want you to rank yourself, each of these two areas on a scale of 1 to 10, okay? Where do you struggle? How much do you struggle with taking action? 1 to 10. How much do you struggle with having the right strategy? 1 to 10, and be honest with yourself. And I want you, for each one of these two areas, whichever one you think you need the most help in, I want you to go figure out a solution to one of those two things, okay? If you need more strategies, okay, this YouTube channel has tons of information out there. There's also tons of gurus, tons of books you can read. There's a lot of stuff you can do to get the right strategy. If action is what you're struggling with, this is all about consistency and doing the push-ups like Steven says, okay? If I wanted to prescribe you something to take more action, you just have to build the muscle of doing it. It's not gonna feel comfortable when you first start. That's why I struggled for so long, is because I would start doing this and it was so uncomfortable that I would always wanna quit after like 2 or 3 days of doing it. I was the guy who went to the gym 3 days in a row and then quit and then didn't try to go back again for 3 months, over and over again for years. Okay, you have to be consistent. It will not build a habit, okay? If you wanna build the habit of consistent action, you have to start doing it today. And that's it. If you do those two things, you're gonna become invincible just like this guy, just like Superman. All right, and that's the goal of this lesson today. I know that there's tons of lessons out there about success, but if I were to distill what success takes into two things, it's doing the right things, consistently over time is gonna produce massive results. All right, so now that we've covered that, if you wanna dive deeper, I invite you to go to the description, or go right here basically, and check out our 5 principles for a personal breakthrough ebook. Also, I highly, highly would love for you to click that button right there and subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my boy and my mentor, Stephen Scoggins, because he has taught me so much and I know he can teach you a lot as well. Thank you.